And thanks for sticking with us here at 12:30. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is now talking about the severe weather outbreak. Let's listen in.
So a big thanks go out to our first responders who were there even in the midst of the storm, but certainly after, helping to ensure that people are safe, leaving their own families when our families are in their time of need, restoring power, restoring water, doing everything they can to make sure that people can start rebuilding their lives in the aftermath of a series of storms and tornadoes like what we just experienced. I am always inspired by Kentuckians' kindness and compassion to one another. This challenge is no different. We see our neighbors helping their neighbors and communities coming together to provide those in need with shelter, a warm meal, and often a big hug and those comments that say it's going to be all right. Thank you to everyone who's out there doing anything to make a positive difference during this time. I'm here today after traveling home early this morning from my son's baseball trip. I made the promise that I'd be here in difficult times, and I'm going to keep that promise every single day I'm in this job for the next 3 years and about 8 months. I arrived this morning after declaring a state of emergency yesterday and implementing the price gouging statute. The state of emergency allows us to marshal state resources like the National Guard and others to help communities. The price gouging statute ensures not only things like gas don't go up, but building supplies and other materials that people will need to clean out their homes and start that rebuilding process. Yesterday, I spent all day on the phone with emergency response and local officials, and we provided an afternoon update to Kentuckians on our response efforts. Today, after this update, I'll be traveling to Prospect in Jefferson and Oldham counties, and then to Fayette and Jessamine counties to see the storm's impact there, and likely we'll have a number of other trips in the coming days. The Lieutenant Governor will be traveling to Ashland and Boyd counties to visit with families and local leaders there. There's significant damage in Boyd County. Now I'm joined today by Interim Emergency Management Director Dustin Heiser, Kentucky Transportation Secretary Jim Gray, and Kentucky State Police Commissioner PJ Burnett to provide some key updates on the impact of the storms and our response. First, the toughest news out of the storm, we've confirmed one weather-related fatality. This came in Campbell County in a car accident when those first line of strong storms and rain were coming through. The better news is outside of that, we haven't even had major injuries reported, but listen, the loss of one life, and I believe this is a young man, is a tragic occurrence, and we'll be praying for him and for his family. These storms were wide-ranging, and they left a lot of damage across much of the state. First, here's where we stand on confirmed tornadoes according to the National Weather Service and Kentucky Emergency Management, and some of this has changed in the last 20 or so minutes. Anderson County experienced an EF1 with 90-mile-an-hour winds. Nelson County and the Chaplin community was hit by an EF1 with 95-mile-an-hour winds. Jessamine County, EF1 with winds up to 110 miles an hour. We've also recently had an EF1 confirmed in Bourbon County. All the details are being gathered on that, as well as an EF1, we believe, in that Prospect, Jefferson County, Oldham area. We don't know yet if it extended all the way to Henry County or not. We're aware of possible tornadoes being evaluated in Boyd, Harlan, Shelby, Simpson counties, but really a lot of other counties that we may later find the evidence to confirm tornadoes. By the end of this, I think we may well be looking at 7+ different tornadoes that have touched down, certainly a number of counties impacted either by a tornado or very significant storms. We also have confirmed straight line wind damage in Fayette, Mercer, Spencer, and Woodford counties. And we know a lot of damage has been reported in Ballard, Bath, Carter, Clark, Elliott, Greenup, Henry, Johnson, Kenton, Lawrence, Montgomery, Powell, Rockcastle, and Union County seems to have an area that was hit pretty hard. Some of those may just be a couple of houses. Some of them are entire communities. But as you can see, this storm and the tornadoes involved had statewide impacts hitting numerous areas across the state. And that's one of the reasons that I am so thankful that Kentuckians have remained so weather aware. We didn't have as many people out in the first storm because people were paying attention. We did lose that one life. But in the second round, where we saw those tornadoes, right now we don't have a single confirmed fatality from the second part. We had a lot of businesses, including state government, that let out early. If I had a concern going into this, it's just that we face so much that people might not react with the care and the need that is required. But Kentuckians showed they continue to be weather aware, and we've learned some tough lessons over the last several years. So to Kentuckians, keep it up. Make sure you are tuning in to your meteorologist, watching our social media accounts. This weather that we face these days is dangerous. And because everybody was prepared, with the exception of the tragic loss of the young man, it looks like everybody is okay today. In addition to the state of emergency, we have 12 county declarations of emergencies. They include Anderson, Bourbon, Boyd, Clark, Elliott, Fayette, Greenup, Henry, Jefferson, Jessamine, Kenton, and Union. On top of that, we have 7 cities that we have local states of emergencies that have been declared. They include Ashland, Catlettsburg, Flatwoods, Greenup, Louisville, Mount Vernon, and Raceland. We currently have around 15,132 power outages. That is down from 32,732. Let me tell you, these companies get after it and getting their people in after these storms and really work hard. We can also share good news on the communications front. We have cell service in Boyd counties. A major fiber line has been restored and a majority of cell service is back. We believe this outage was connected to one of 2 major power lines down on interstates. We had one on I-75 around the 104 mile marker for a period of time. And then we had another on I-64, I believe, in Greenup County. And the work on that may have led to a severing of a line that impacted cell phone service. But all of that is back up now. And I was impressed by how quickly those major power lines were able to be pulled off the interstate. And while they created some long backups, those stoppages were not nearly as long as might have been expected by that type of occurrence. We're also aware that Catlettsburg and Boyd County has wastewater operating under emergency generator power. In Henry County, the main booster that feeds Eminence and Newcastle has lost power and has been restored with no loss of water to customers. So that's back up and running, and it doesn't look like there was ever water loss. Counties are starting the federal individual assistance and the public assistance damage assessments today. Remember, there are 2 different systems. This one, I'm guessing, will meet the public assistance damage assessment. It's pretty widespread, but we'll see. It's got to meet that threshold. Remember, individual assistance is a pretty high bar. We've met it in the floods and the tornadoes. We'll see on this one. It's going to be a pretty big effort on this one because remember, it's statewide. A lot of the communities aren't even connected. So getting in reliable information will be really important to submitting that paperwork and seeing if we apply for individual assistance. So everyone should photograph all damages before cleaning up, and you need to report the damages that you've sustained as a citizen to the local county emergency management officials. For questions on how to proceed with insurance after a disaster, you can also visit insurance.ky.gov. Interim Emergency Management Director Dustin Heiser is here to provide some additional details.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor, for having me here today. As many of you know, Kentucky has recently experienced significant weather events, including tornadoes and substantial straight line wind damage. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the 1974 super outbreak tornado event, a tragic event in our state's history where many Kentuckians lost their lives. While we commemorate this somber event or somber occasion, it's also a moment to reflect on our progress in storm preparedness and response. One key role of emergency management is to act as liaisons and coordinate effort among various state agencies. We partner with state agencies to identify resources and align them with the evolving needs of communities affected by such events. Our collaboration ensures efficient deployment of resources to mitigate the impact of disasters and support affected individuals and families. Preparedness is not just a responsibility of emergency management. It's a collective effort that involves local leaders, first responders, citizens, and the entire Commonwealth. Being prepared means having plans in place, staying informed, staying weather aware, and knowing how to respond to disasters when disasters strike. We urge all Kentuckians to take proactive steps to prepare themselves, their families, and their communities for future emergencies. While yesterday's unfortunate loss reminds us of the dangers posed by severe weather, it also underscores the advancements we've made in storm warning and communication of safety messages. Our ability to swiftly disseminate warnings, safety information, has undoubtedly saved lives and minimized the impacts of such events. One thing I would like to emphasize to citizens is before beginning any cleanup efforts, it is essential to carefully document your damages by taking pictures, taking detailed notes. Documenting damages helps assess the extent of the disaster. This also expedites the process of resources and will aid in your insurance claim process. We urge affected individuals and communities to prioritize documentation of damages to expedite recovery efforts effectively. In closing, I want to express my gratitude to all the first responders, volunteers, and agencies who are working tirelessly to support affected communities. As we navigate through the aftermath of this weather event, let's continue to stand together, support one another, rebuild stronger and more resilient communities. Thank you again for your attention and support during these challenging times. We remain committed to serving and safeguarding the people of Kentucky.
Thank you, Director Heiser. Two quick points on that. First, for individuals out there, why we're asking you to report your damages to the county EM director is because we need to reach a certain threshold of overall damage to our citizens if the federal government is going to provide individual assistance. It's a significant threshold. It requires a big natural disaster. So what that means is we need everybody to make that report if there's going to be a chance to do that. And that doesn't necessarily mean you'll need the individual assistance, but there are people out there that do. And so your reporting, your damage might be the difference between somebody who really needs that extra help getting it and it not being available. So please consider doing that. And the second thing is the statement I'm about to make is not about politics, but about policy. We are once again in a natural disaster, and a significant one, that we would not be able to respond to the way we have if the limitations in the current pending budget had been in the last budget. For the first time in this upcoming budget, the legislature is trying to limit the amount of resources that we can spend to respond to a natural disaster before calling them into a session. We were already over that amount before the tornadoes hit Trimble County and Carroll County, and Gallatin got hit by weather. We couldn't have opened General Butler State Park there. If we'd have needed National Guard, we might not have been able to bring them out. Pallets of water and others wouldn't have been able to help with. And this one, because you're about to hear some of what the Guard's doing, would have been the same thing. At least when you look at the way it's written, it would have required calling people in during the natural disaster where it wouldn't have been safe to travel, and or a day or two after, and then how long it takes from there. I mean, we have to respond to an emergency in an emergent manner. And thankfully we're able to do that right now because that type of law hasn't gone into effect. But it's really important as we think about the people that are out there that need help. We know that there are going to be people out there that need help in the future too. All I'm asking for is the ability to help them in the short term. And I hope that we can get that fixed so that we always have the resources to help our neighbors when they've been knocked down. Next, we have some updates from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. Our transportation crews were monitoring weather conditions ahead of yesterday's storms. Crews jumped into action to help clear roads of large debris and to help manage traffic. A lot of the highway impacts were in central and eastern Kentucky. They included crashes involving large trucks or structures that were blown into roadways. I think we had a barn on a road. As of this morning, there are fewer than 10 blocked state roads due to down power lines or flooding. Two big ones that they include are Kentucky 3179 in Barron County, where a section of the road is washed away, and Kentucky 393 in Oldham County, as we're working to restore power lines near Oldham County High School. Once again, I get to report that the best National Guard in the entire country, and they won that award. It's not just what I believe, it's absolutely true, went into service immediately. 14 members of the Kentucky Air National Guard's 123rd Civil Engineer Squadron helped clear roadways in Prospect early this morning. The airmen arrived with 4 trucks and multiple chainsaws around 10:45 p.m. So they started last night and then worked until early in the morning. Working carefully to avoid fallen power lines with help from LG&E and the Anchorage Fire Department, they removed several trees blocking access to about 100 homes. Airmen were on site just 2 hours after being notified in their homes. The debris was loaded onto trucks for removal and road access was restored by 2 a.m. I want to thank our fast-acting transportation crews, local first responders, and our Guard members who've worked nonstop to help keep Kentuckians safe. Restoring these connections are critical not only for travelers, but for first responders, utilities, and everybody who's a part of the rebuilding process. As a reminder, Kentuckians can check traffic conditions before traveling at goky.ky.gov. And remember, there's some more showers scheduled today. It looks like it's going to get pretty cold tonight. There's going to be a lot of water that's still out there on the roadways. So everybody, please be careful. And remember, if you see a flooded roadway, stop and turn around and go a different direction. Now, it's a lot better to know that you're going to be okay and that you're going to be there for your family than to chance it on something you might not think is dangerous. So with that, I'll turn it over to Secretary Gray for additional updates.
Well, thanks, Governor. And thanks to you and Director Heiser for amplifying and illuminating the collaboration that has gone on once again. You know, when often tragic circumstances are encountered, it is that human spirit of collaboration that brings us together and allows leadership and those with boots on the ground, those on the front line, to actually get the job done for our citizens. And that's exactly what's happened again. I want to say from the point of view of the Transportation Cabinet that I'm proud that we have the best crews in the business serving on Team Kentucky. And I'm proud to say that their dedication has kept travelers safe. Ahead of yesterday's storm, highway technicians were standing by with backhoes, loaders, dump trucks, and chainsaws. They worked throughout the day, along with forestry crews and our electric utilities especially, to clear debris, to get ahead, in fact, of our first responders. And this debris removal ranged from brush to barns, as tornadoes and high winds took down trees in more than 20 counties, as the governor already shared with us. This is an illustration of a debris removal in Fayette County just yesterday. And winds also impacted ferry services. The Cave and Rock Ferry on the Ohio River at Marion, is closed again today due to high winds, and the Valley View Ferry just south of Lexington on the Kentucky River at Tates Creek Road is closed by high water. Crews also helped detour traffic on I-75 in Fayette County. The governor's already mentioned that. I'm going to just say it again. I-64, and that was at I-64 in eastern Kentucky, Carter and Greenup counties, and other locations was blocked by fallen power lines. So many worked, of course, into the night hauling debris, or they worked alongside the power crews as they removed lines from trees. In Henry County, for example, crews flagged traffic on US 421 near the high school as the utility company worked to restore power. Today, they are back at it, cleaning up highways to keep Kentucky moving and safely. As of 11:45 this morning, we are down to only a few issues on Kentucky roads, and among them, in Oldham County, Kentucky 393, the governor also mentioned this, remains blocked as efforts continue to restore power near lines near the high school. And this is an image of the Oldham County, of the high school site. In Barron County, part of Kentucky 3179, that's Oil Well Road, was washed away during Tuesday's storm. Crews are planning repairs, but it's expected to remain closed for some time. In Carter County, we're putting out signs on I-64 to help with rolling roadblocks today as our electrical crews restore the power lines. Rolling roadblocks will also occur beginning at 1 p.m. today on I-75 in Fayette County for power line work. And a slide is blocking US 25 in Rockcastle County. Other blockages remain on lower volume roads where crews are working to clear those as soon as possible. Also, our electricians are still busy where power outages have left not only homes dark, but also traffic signals. So we want to remind everyone to use caution where signals are out. And remember, this graphic or this slide, this image may come up. The governor mentioned this. If you encounter a dark traffic signal, treat the intersection like a four-way stop. Stop at flashing red signals. Use caution if lights are flashing yellow. And of course, as the governor said, never touch or drive over a fallen power line. I also want to note, while crews worked to clear roadways, many were doing so with limited communication as power outages affected phone and cell services. Others kept chainsaws and trucks moving with no power to their own facilities.
All right, we are leaving the governor's press conference right now. Just to wrap up, the governor did confirm one weather-related death that happened in Campbell County in a traffic accident due to that severe weather. He also said that it is confirmed an EF1 tornado in Anderson, Nelson, Jessamine, Bourbon, Jefferson County in the Prospect area, and there could be as many as 7 as the National Weather Service is still out there doing their work when all is said and done. Also, if you had storm damage, take photos and call your county to report it. This is not only for your insurance, but also so the state can get federal aid. He thanked first responders and, of course, neighbors for helping neighbors. We'll be right back.